Okay, so that kind of covers like falling down, right? And we could talk about how like in the third tier, pretty much just lifestyle habits will cause you to fall down. It's not even about interpersonal communication or conflict. It's literally like
Mhm.
a difficult thing to sustain a third tier consciousness.
Being alive.
Yeah. And I wanted to
Being an
think,
organism is difficult.
and I wanted to think a little bit about sort of, because this it's such a can of worms, but getting into personality disorders, different neural types, mental illnesses, and so now we're talking about high neuroticism types in the big five,
Hmm.
like
Okay.
craziness to
Neurotic to the bone,
yeah,
no doubt about it.
neurotic and pathological outside of integral, like diagnosable stuff outside of integral.
Okay.
And how does it fit with integral? I would say that it's just like these dynamics we're describing that might emerge in a kind of healthy-ish individual like you or I, where we'll slip,
Healthy-ish.
healthy-ish, yep.
Yeah.
But with the pathological person, I think what you immediately notice as extreme and different is that they will wildly swing down. They'll
Oh, yeah.
hit magenta for 25 minutes and then it'll go away and everyone will pretend it never happened. Or
Mm.
they'll in my case I've known people with these wild mood swings, right, where it seems to come to red meme selfishness. So a person will be the most friendly, pleasant, enjoyable, accepting, green meme nurturing person in the world, and then little things that would bother anybody, but they are little
Triggers
things.
rage.
Yeah, they'll build up over
It's like
time. They
it's
won't be
the
vented and
last grain
expressed.
of sand. Yeah.
Those communication and self-thinking skills are not there. So you just have this constantly building emotional reservoir, which eventually that fucker's got to boil over. That thing's got to explode.
Yeah.
And so that's going
Tolerating
to
to the point of snap.
rapid regression, like instantaneous regression, which is crazy. That's what we call crazy. Is like you
Hmm.
were just normal a second ago. Now you think and behave and
You're
feel
punching holes in
completely
walls.
different. Yeah, completely differently. So now I'm startled by that and I'm confused by that. And we can see it in terms of regressing stages in the moment. It's possible to see it that way. You can see it as, diagnostic types. You can see it as brain functioning. These are all available perspectives. We're looking at upper left somatics, how thoughts, values, feelings, prejudices, how your system generates these behaviors. And I think in the case of these different neural types, personality types, and mental illnesses, using this model can be really useful. It can be helpful in kind of assessing the depth of a condition, strictly in terms of how many altitudes you jump.
Mm.
Because the typical picture of I would say like a schizophrenic or high functioning bipolar is that you do have these really high functioning, high altitude in general, but the neuroticism makes it kick down so much that it's not really at the center of gravity that it's at, which is why it's neurotic and pathological. Is it can't sustain green meme, let's say, because as it tries to do that and it encounters ordinary challenges, it doesn't have the resources and tools to deal with those, so it does build up that reservoir, which will explode over time. So little skills that you develop over time can help you with that mental. It's not the cure for mental illness, but it's like a momentary band-aid that you can apply situationally if you have the insight to do that. And in some cases, that's not going to be possible, of course. But this is one way that altitudes can be used therapeutically in your day-to-day life and in your relationships. If you know that you do have some stuff, like baggage stuff, trauma, or different mental stuff, this is like a novel, emergent way to look at these conditions. Is how many altitudes do you regress? What situations cause that? What's the nature of those situations? Are they romantic situations? Are they power situations? Are they friendships? Are they family? All these suggest different altitudes and different chakras of, if you notice, like one thing that you'll notice in life is that these are often very segmented in those ways. Like you'll have a person who is maybe different, but they're high functioning, they're moral, intelligent, they're doing all these things that are high functioning, but there's just something not quite right about them emotionally, and they do have these like explosive episodes. I think everyone can think of people who when they become pathological, it's always sex. It's always a sexual thing. This only comes out in relationships, doesn't come out in friendships, it doesn't come out in business. So this is to suggest like, okay, that's where you want to begin your search for what's wrong here on the pathology level.
The triggers.
Yeah. If your sexual or romantic relationship is bringing you down to magenta and red whenever that might happen, this is pathological. You really shouldn't need to go sub amber. Maybe red. You really shouldn't need to be in that terrain, because selfishness, it's very difficult for selfishness to be compatible with relationships in today's world. The way that we conceptualize relationships is very non-selfish in today's world. So you kind of have to use an outdated model of relationships if you want to have it be this sort of patriarchal situation with like, uneven communication, uneven power, uneven sexuality.
Yeah, think about the quarterback and the cheerleader.
Yeah,
that's sort of the archetype. Like that, I understand that's very general, but that sort of archetype where they're both selfish, so much so that being together is part of that selfishness.
Yeah, or rock stars and supermodels.
I'm dating the quarterback. Doesn't matter that he's a dick and doesn't care about me at all. Same thing on the other side. Oh, I'm dating the head cheerleader. She's so friggin' hot. What?
Yeah. Well, clearly those are the red
madness.
meme power gods, right? The cheerleader is the female archetype. The football guy is the warrior, the male archetype. So it's like those.
Yeah.
And then you're appealing to the amber meme. Like keeping up with the Joneses, being popular, being someone of, prestige,
Status.
I'm dating Chad.
If I were to date anyone other than Becky, I wouldn't be Chad.
So your motivation in that relationship is like amber orange. It's status. Like you actually don't like that. You don't like Chad. Chad's actually a dick in it. Yeah. You don't realize that.
Becky is also a dick.
Yeah. Becky's a dick. Chad's a dick. They're completely image obsessed. And so like that relationship may never even get to like lower altitudes either, because to go to a low altitude with someone is an intimate thing. Superficial, that's funny, like top-down relationships, like superficial relationships that are only existing at higher altitudes and not lower. That's interesting. I hadn't even really thought of that. Like an arranged marriage with like no passion. That's cool.
Yeah, the billionaire, the 60-year-old billionaire with the 20-year-old wife.
Yeah, like influencers.
They're getting something out of it emotionally, somewhat, but yet realistically, this is orange. This is status.
And okay, so that's
to
like
evoke jealousy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, why in the world do you want to evoke jealousy? I wish I was more of a girl and could understand this. It is power. It's just power.
Why does it have to be a girl?
Because nobody gonna be jealous of my ass.
No, I'm not saying. Yeah, okay.
No, I'm joking. No, you're right. You're 100% right. I'm just.
Dudes
I had to come back.
Make
somehow.
other dudes jealous.
Yeah.
Check out my fucking Harleys. But the midlife crisis is a jealousy thing.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right.
I need my life to have value. So check out what I have.
I'm just being a hammer. Yeah. Yeah. I've never deliberately provoked jealousy. That just seems like such a jerk thing to do. Why would I do that?
I do. In jest.
Yeah.
I do it so that the guys, like whoever I'm talking to, is like, I'm just fucking with you.
I remember you had a joke with your girlfriends like when we were teens and shit, like where it was always like, oh, that's it, I'm dumping you, like you're done, it's like it was just
started that.
Yeah. Oh, and then I tried it on my girlfriends and it was very ineffective. They didn't find it funny. Just don't even joke about that.
I thought you had done it first.
I might have. I don't know that you always know the actual like facts of the case.
I don't actually remember who fired the first shot there, but yeah, it was that joke played well for years.
Yeah, because you dated girls who liked you for your sense of humor.
Yeah, you're on a first or second date maybe, and a nicer place to eat or a nicer cafe or whatever, and then the server comes up like, "What can I get you guys?" Like, actually, I'm not having anything. This Tinder date's not going well. The person across the table just like is crushed. I'm just joking. I'm just
Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah,
yeah. I don't know. Some people you can't joke about things like that. Some people just don't really like that kind of thing.
and that's not the type of
Yeah, they
or
gotta
later in life marry.
learn to take a joke or fuck off. No.
If you can't take a joke, fuck off.
I had one other direction I wanted to go with this. Altitudes
Jealousy was
at
one I
work.
was trying to lead this into because what a weird one.
Yeah.
Did you
I'm
mention
not
this?
high right now. It's weird. I've been getting high a lot, but I'm not high right now. I think I'm just residually
Maybe that's the
spacey.
problem.
I don't know. Yeah, no, I'm noticeably spacey though today, compared to even other days. How to actually elevate altitudes consciously? That doesn't sound right though.
You did mention that earlier, and I don't know how you could do that. I know you could plant your feet and try to stay at an altitude, but I don't know in some situation with friction how you'd actually increase.
I think it was Eckhart Tolle, but one of those like kind of mainstream spiritual teachers was like, it's like that moment when an idea is just on the tip of your tongue and you can't think of it, but you know there's an idea and you just have like a placeholder container for it. And you're like, oh, what is
Hmm.
it? But none of my neural pathways are getting me there. Like, what's something associated with
I
it?
put a post-it note on the page I wanted to remember, and then I walked back, and the post-it note was sitting next to the book.
Yeah, like you can't remember the title of something or somebody's name. That is a metaphor for enlightenment because that thing which is searching and has no object of search is kind of like the ultimate absolute unmanifest in a way. It's like it's like a question mark applied to the universe, like outwardly. And there is no answer because you don't have access to the fact that you're looking for right now, even though in a
If
couple
you were
minutes you
to
will.
find the answer, you don't know if that's it or not. You keep looking.
But once I get an answer and I'll start forming new pathways and then I'll know theoretically whether it's right or not. Sometimes that does happen though where you do get the answer and now you fucked your head up so much that it doesn't seem right. Like when you spell a word wrong and then you like put it under the microscope and you're like, wait, even when it's spelled right, it looks wrong. Doesn't limit have
Uh,
two M's?
as a horrible dyslexic, that it just becomes as a shock.
That
They
doesn't
all look
track.
wrong to me. No, cannot relate to that. No, sorry.
That's
I
funny.
can
That
say a
doesn't
word
track.
that no longer has any meaning. Roads, roads.
Yeah, that's the
But
same.
yet,
Like once you've put it under the microscope, you've changed the nature of it, so it's no longer recognizable as the recognizable thing. It's now colored with your new thing you've added to it.
it's Schrodinger's cat in a plexiglass box. Question remains.
In case for people who are kind of newer to this, I know we're like pretty deep in the weeds at this point, so this might not be the video for people who are new to altitudes. But just want to point out that as we move around these stages, we're describing how each of these stages kind of would behave in response to someone else. Basically, the second tier, the teal meme or the turquoise, one of the big signs of it, one of the things to look for is that you are self-aware of stages in the present moment. So to whatever extent you are doing this or something similar to this, that is itself an expression of second tier teal meme in the present moment. I just wanted to point that out too. Like to whatever extent you're using teal to diagnose yourself as orange, that is teal and orange at the same time. Just because you're adding that element of self-awareness of altitudes in any context, but in this case in the present moment. When you're bringing awareness to this, bringing awareness to altitudes in relationship and in self, you should start asking that question, of you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? That's an altitudes concern. That if you find yourself constantly getting downward push, downward pull, you might be in an inappropriate altitude context. You might not have your upper left in sync with your lowers, with your lower quadrants, with your collective. And that's almost certainly going to be a case if you've just changed memes, if you've just gotten to a new place. So a lot of people watching this would have just gotten to teal That's why they would be interested in this. And so if that is the case, you're probably in an inappropriate situation for Teal to be in. So we're trying to offer some resources for you, very flimsy resources, but you need to go out into the world and search out that context that is mirroring your best altitude. It's such a challenge to be authentic and to expect the world to be authentic back.
That's a big one.
And you gotta, if you don't believe in it, it's never gonna happen. That's one thing I can say for sure.
Plenty of super weaknesses, plenty of superpowers. One of my super weaknesses is I expect the world to give back what I give.
For sure. Yeah.
Very rarely the case. The world doesn't give a shit about you.
Yeah. And when you give, you generally give to takers, and takers take, and they don't give.
Mm-hmm.
This is a problem.
I train people on, actually, is they'll join like networks and things and support groups to try to make more sales or try to get more leads. And the type of people we hire are givers. And so they end up just getting had in these groups. They give and give and give and give and give and never get anything back in it. I have to coach them that it's kind of a waste of time, unfortunately. It's great to meet these people and talk about industry stuff and industry partners, but they're just kind of taking from you. And during that time, if you had just done independent work, you would have gotten more.
Right. And this gets back to what we were talking about earlier with gift giving, right? To me, gift giving is a symbolic gesture of care. So I don't need that because I look for gestures of care at higher levels. So I already know whether I like someone. They don't have to give me a gift. That won't
status
influence
level of care also.
Yeah.
Look at how extravagant the gift I gave you was. Now you're sort of on the receiving end, like, well, do I spend my life savings to give similar gift, or do I just say thanks, or what's next? You've been put in an odd situation.
Or like, I donated my kidney to your daughter. I'm never giving any of you guys any presents ever again. Is that not fair?
What a dick.
Yeah. Oh, of course you just gave the kidney away so you wouldn't have to give any presents. I'm just saying, just holding things in the balance.
That hypothetical family knew you too well to say, oh, he gave the kidney so he didn't have to give gifts anymore. Just a complete understanding of that person. What a dick.
Actually, I did find a hook that I want to pursue. What if I'm unable to regress? Right? That's an interesting thing. Like, what if I feel myself wanting to get into physical conflict with you, but I don't do it? Like, I'm completely behind it, but I'm not red meme strong enough. I'm a coward, but I actually want to hit you.
Then you regress farther.
I believe in it. Right. We will notice in ourselves a hesitance to go to certain places, and we don't want to have that hesitance because the hesitance is shadow. We want to consciously not want to go there. Very consciously not want to go to lower levels. But if we unconsciously do want to go there, it would be better to express the lower level. And this is actually extremely important to relationships. For example, as a typical bad entry level employee, I don't engage with the leadership.
You don't talk about my Adam that way.
I just mean I'm bad at being entry level because I'm good, is what I mean.
Okay.
As that role, I don't engage with the leadership because I see it as above my pay grade, let's say.
Okay.
So I don't engage with them.
Above, stage equal or below.
At the point that I do engage with it, it'll be kind of out of hand. It'll be like at a point where it's like, okay, I gotta address this. What I should have done was very non-seriously, just in the ordinary course of things, give little tiny challenges, little tiny, what about this? What about this system? I was kind of concerned about this. This seems a little weird to me. Like, are we doing that on purpose or?
Little mentions.
And this is a thing you'll see over and over again in romantic relationships. Is like, I don't want to stir things up. I don't want to confront them. I don't want to get a rise out of them. It's their business. But then you're going to bottle things up and harbor actual resentment, which is totally unfair. What I would say almost everyone, like 70% of relationships that I see between, sexual romantic partners, they need to challenge more. They need to say when things are bothering them more in ways that aren't built up, where it hasn't gotten out of control, but just like, hey, I think you're spending too much money this month. What do you think? It's still friendly. It hasn't gotten out of hand yet. It hasn't regressed yet.
In a relationship setting, and my wife is in earshot, so I'll tread lightly. JK, I say what I want. Tolerance is the killer of relationships.
Right.
If you're tolerating something, that will
Never
have a
do
breaking point eventually.
It's unfair.
You either accept it or you're in the wrong relationship. Friends and family members who complain to us directly or complain on social media about something, like, you only get one life. And if it is as bad as whatever your post or whatever your call or text was about, maybe you're in the wrong one. There are multiple someones at your level where you're not tolerating everything they do. There will be certain small tolerances, but you tolerate until you can accept. You're not happy.
Right.
You won't ever be happy. You're like, I'm just waiting for that time that everything's going to be right and we're both just going to be happy.
Yeah.
That's not going to come if that's the mindset you have.
That's I wanted to put parameters on that because I like the tolerance and acceptance dichotomy. I think that tolerance can be okay if it has a clear end game, like if it's for a defined amount of time and you've chosen to do it, and then in that case it's kind of acceptance, right? But
that outcome would be either acceptance or it's over. That Adam has to work nights and I work days, so I don't get to see him, but there's an end time to that. So I'll tolerate this schedule until that end time. We get a day a week or hours a week together. That's okay with both of us. Acceptance.
So I don't want to condone tolerance as much as just to say, like, relationships are work is work, life is work, health and nutrition is work, everything is work. There is
you have your role to play.
There is an unpleasantness that you're expected to endure. There is a responsibility, and we're talking about the attitude that you take towards that responsibility. If it's an attitude of tolerance that's going to undermine your soul, it's going to make you ineffective because you're going to hate your life. So you're tolerating existing. To accept a thing, you can go through a lot of bullshit that you don't want to deal with long term. As long as you have a plan and a goal, like saying, like, okay, in 3 months, this situation's gone, so I can endure it for that time. It's not a good thing. Yeah. I'm not into it. But this is what's going to happen in order to get us to that place where life is good. I think that's got to be the parameter,
6 months later, then what?
It shouldn't. Yeah, it shouldn't be 6
and gone.
It shouldn't be fucking 6 months. Yeah.
Well, it's just 3 more months.
Yeah.
Or whatever. You're just bottling it up. You're tolerating, and eventually that's gonna be resentment.
Yeah.
It's gonna be depression, unhappiness. Like, especially on social media. If you're complaining on social media, that's never going to work. I don't know why. James is just such a dick all the time. Smiley emoji. Yeah, you're in a bad relationship. That's what's going on. Your tolerance level is building to the point where you're telling other people that you're tolerating.
Oof.
Oh, he's just so bad. But he loves me though, or she loves me though.
Like daily Facebook wall posts that are a direct, like, meme commentary on their relationship.
Yeah, if it's that point, like, find somebody who doesn't rub you that way.
Yeah.
It seems cold and callous for me to say that, and it took me 38 years of my life to find someone that doesn't
cold and
rub me
callous
the wrong
to you.
way. Well, I don't mean to sound cold and callous. It doesn't mean I'm not sounding cold and callous.
No, I
never said I was right.
I mean, it's kind to James. It's a kindness to you.
The gift I give is to not be with you.
Yeah, to you. Yeah. Yeah, we don't.
Probably to both,
You
because if
don't
it is
owe
that
it
sort of
to
relationship,
anyone to be around like a
you
fucked
do
up.
not have right to a single minute of my time.
Yeah, nobody does. It's a gift. It's all a wonderful gift.
Okay,
So,
speed round. Are you ready?
yeah, of course.
Good, because you're fucking going. Orange to orange
I
conflict.
could skip a day
What's
and
the?
I'd still be most productive.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm just killing it. Orange to orange conflict. What is a typical orange resolution? What
Agree
ends
to
the argument?
disagree, maybe?
Okay,
I
this is
would
a speed
say.
round. Orange to red.
I would say, I mean, it depends on how big it is, but orange will usually invoke authority, like in an Amber meme sense,
Mm.
like call the police or tell the parents.
Red and blue.
That's the same one, really, because the approach would be the same, I think.
Hierarchy.
Yeah, like when red gets out of control, amber and orange will both appeal to the system in different ways, but with, like orange will be more legalese and amber will
Mm-hmm.
be more morality based.
Teal and red.
I think I could see like teal is going to try and get in there and relate with like understanding where you're coming from. I think a lot more than any of the other memes is what'll stand out there is like the teal will interface with red really well. Having done so, you will then apply again the amber meme, orange meme, set of tricks like, well, I don't want to, but like, dude, I gotta call the police because this bar is trashed and I don't
I
insurance.
should
Like,
have set a little parameter before the speed round. This is like you are sitting at a table and you back up and hit the other person behind you, hit the chair of the other person behind you, and they whip around. Instant.
yeah.
Something's going on. Teal and teal.
Oh gosh. Well, what in the world are we?
Trick question. There wouldn't be an argument. You just made a friend.
What happens? I don't know, man. Yeah, like seriously,
I'm
like
trying. Yeah, now that I said that, I'm trying to think of a situation that would get a teal-minded person to engage another teal-minded person in some sort of conflict.
I mean, gosh, like Fight Club. let's
A
both
car
engage in this.
crash?
Let's both engage in this like personal growth activity where we beat the shit out of each other
Oh, okay. Yeah, as like a as an exercise.
as a therapy. Yeah. Gosh, yeah. No, I mean, this it sounds so. It's so annoying because it sounds really arrogant to say that. It's like, well, teal doesn't really conflict. They have an abundance mentality about everything. But it's kind of true. I mean, the answer is generally that it will regress to consciously regress to a functional
I think it would have to
mean,
be like a lifelong thing for that to exist. The situation of uh, I think both would turn around and be like, "Oh yeah, sorry about that.
yeah. Oh, you're backing your chair up. Okay, I get it.
Let me get you a drink." No, nope. I insist I get you a drink.
So yeah,
Yeah.
and we have an integral the concept of fixations and allergies, like a meme that you can't get above in certain situations would be a fixation. Like in sexual relationships, I can never get above amber, let's say, something like that. Like I don't actually bring in my reasonable mind into the relationship. And this
Because
is
of your
real.
carnal
Baby
desires.
talk relationships. That's not a
Mm,
coincidence. This is you're
mm.
both regressing to children together because that's the level at which you can relate to people intimately. I've
Who?
done baby talk relationships, right?
Oh, I remember.
That's where you can handle it, right? And
What's the situation uh, where they always go, babe? Hey, babe. They don't even use each other's names. It's not
uh,
like baby talk.
oh god, commodification maybe like orange,
Yeah, I
or
think so.
orange amber, yeah. Those two clump together in weird ways. Yeah, the commodification. Yeah, I like babe. I like baby talk. I like full spectrum, but if you can't not baby talk, you see this in
Oh,
teens
I
a
thought you were
lot,
gonna lay on something that just got you going.
or you're having like a serious
I like this.
discussion.
I like this.
You're having like a serious discussion and you're baby talking,
I
or you're like
heard.
with your therapist and you're baby talking.
I heard. I
Yeah.
remember very clearly a relationship you had. It was all baby talk
Uh huh.
most of the time.
Uh huh.
And yeah, as a conscientious observer, thought it was strange, but I never thought ill about it. It didn't affect me in
No,
any
it's
way.
just sweet.
But then, yeah, if there were very, very few, but there were a couple of times where it's like, oh, friction, and you couldn't leave
Mm-hmm.
the. Well, I thought I was right, type of thing. Like you're arguing in baby talk. It's like almost more entertaining than awkward. Like I have to listen to this now.
That's fucking hilarious. Yeah, and no, seriously, like that's what happened to that relationship is that we weren't adults. We couldn't deal reasonably with one another. We were little babies, and so we
Well, yeah, we were all very young,
yeah.
underdeveloped as far as healthy relationship goes. I'm not blaming you for anything. I'm not labeling you anything. I just remember
I'm just thinking of
being an
people out
observer.
there watching who do baby talk, and I want to say like it's a beautiful thing. It's just like you
It can't
also
be the
need
thing.
to invoke orange meme in today's world in a relationship. You have to have higher memes, and oftentimes that is the result of trauma, and it's a fixation. You in your romantic or sexual or power world, you can't get above a childlike mentality in approaching it just because you don't have that tool yet. You haven't something's not working that's getting you there. And so over the course of relationships in my life, I noticed that, and I stopped doing baby talk, and I listened to Loveline a lot, and Dr. Drew would point out people doing baby talk. Like it's a
Mhm.
thing when people talk like babies, like it's telling you like regression stuff, bringing more and more adult voices into your relationship when it's not out of hand, when it's not out of control. It shouldn't get to that point because you have to give little challenges, little mild challenges. You have to have the
I
confidence and the disruptiveness to do that.
was trying to think about if my wife and I do anything like that. We will mispronounce words intentionally.
You have inside jokes.
That's fun. Cat language. So she definitely has her own language. Like a Tolkien level of her own language.
We have like a voice that we do for the cats.
Yeah, they're idiots.
Yeah,
They're simple. They're simpletons.
yeah. Just do a dumbass voice.
Yeah, we're regressing to that because that's where they're at. They're below that. We're putting human attributes to a cat's mind. Cat does not give a shit.
So that like baby talking with your cat, that's probably appropriate. You should probably have a childlike relationship with your pet. That's fine. I don't mind that.
Yeah, they're below beige.
So this is fixations, right? Looking at situations where in altitude you can't get higher than an altitude, even though you know better, and you want to look at the category there. You want to look at
it's automatic.
is this authority, power control, sexuality, food related, right? Food related. That's a big one, right?
Survive.
What the fuck? Where does this energy start happening where I get fixated? The other one more relatable to me is allergy, which is I don't like a meme that's beneath me. I just don't like it. I don't like red. I don't like amber. They bother me because they're so powerful and prevalent, and they've
That's typically the
me.
meme right below you, right?
Yeah, right.
Like you don't skip.
Most
it's the one you
typically.
just left. Fuck those guys.
In second tier, it's a little more all over the place because there's so many maps to work with, and there does seem to be teal seems to not like green and red because everyone hates red because red hates. Red is the hate one.
Red hates itself.
So yeah, yeah. So practical allergy. Yeah, like I might be unwilling to take things to a lower level with someone, right? Allergy to something like I would never.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like I would.
Yeah.
I won't even push you out of my way. I'm just gonna sit here and be a victim of you, right? I won't even resort to red meme tactics.
Not worth the time.
Yeah, and so actually, I'm going to a lower stage rather than a higher stage to deal with that challenge, because I don't want to face it, And seriously, like one of the most practical like things I've done in as far as like self work in this altitude self awareness thing is literally just a reminder all the time. If I don't want to physically look at something, to look at it right now. In the moment when I notice that I don't want to look at it right now. What I notice is I don't want to look at people who have situational authority over me. When I do look at them, it dissolves that sense of them having authority, and it brings us
You have
to
no power over me. You're
because we're
fired.
just personalities
You
now.
have some power. You have some power over me.
Well, you do. Yeah. I mean, that's inevitable. But it changes your perception of the situation from the power hierarchy roles to yourselves as personalities and faces and souls and egos. I have this inborn pattern, right? This thing, or I don't want to say inborn's the wrong word, but I have this pattern that I've developed over the years for whatever reason that I don't face certain things in certain situations. This is an allergy. This is like my unwillingness to engage with the present situation. So practical moment to moment thing I do, because I've self-diagnosed and I'm self-medicating, just face the fucking thing. Face it. Whether that's talking to it, standing in front of it.
It could go terribly.
Going up to the counter.
It could go as bad as you thought it was going to go. All of your fears are recognized. Practiced.
Got to be ready for it. Yeah, just go for it. Just go stand there. Just go and stand, and God will take care of the rest. It's so fucking true.
There's a book, I can't remember the author's name, but it's called Eat That Frog. It's a little more business related, but it's very similar. If you have an issue in front of you, tackle it. Don't wait, because the issue gets bigger. If you have 2 issues, eat the bigger frog first.
Yeah. That's what my old...
it's practice. You're wearing down that edge of not liking it. And you may never like it, but it becomes just another thing.
That was my mentor's approach suggested was like, on your to-do list, just take the thing you least want to do and do it now. That's it. Don't even make a to-do list. Just the thing you know you don't want to do that you're putting at the end of the list so you can do the other stuff first. Once you do that thing, you'll feel so much better and more organized.
The hot phrase around work for the last year or so is lean in, lean out. And so when I have a leadership meeting and I'm mentoring somebody, what are you leaning away from right now?
Right.
Usually they like think about it because like they've been leaning away. They've probably even forgot. Oh, okay. How can I help you overcome that? Everyone wants to talk about what they're leaning into. Everyone wants to talk about what they're tackling, what they're succeeding in, what they're completing. Nobody wants to talk about the thing that we're leaning away from. What are you leaning away from? How can I help you tackle that?
That's really good. Yeah. And integral, I think that you can put that in terms of the ascending and descending paths, right? Like that sometimes you need to go to the thing you're leaning away from, the shadow direction, cleaning up. And sometimes you know exactly where you're going. You just got to do the work. That's just growing up, ascending. But we stress in our thing, we're stressing that downward looking, that descending path, that grounded approach to things. Because it's so neglected, just to be able to inhabit lower stages and lower realities as a therapy and as a way of being more functional and solid in your foundations.
Yeah, you're not regressing to stay there. You're regressing to strengthen that foothold so you don't have to go back there as often.
As extremely minor second-tier representatives, we want to see more healthy lower stages. We don't need to see more higher stages that are unhealthy.
Extremely minor second tier. That's high praise.
Yeah, extremely minor second tier reps
praise.
Right here. Yeah. Some people see us and listen, so we count. And we are technically talking about second tier. Why is this shirt made like what is this? Look at how much sweat. What the hell?
Holy shit.
I'm not nervous. It's not warm in here.
A house with a wood fireplace cold. And you're sitting next to it?
It's very cold in here.
You're the nervous one. I'm not nervous.
Not wearing a bra.
Look at you. You look like you've been figure skating for like 6 hours.
I might just be like the material of this shirt or something. That's so funny.
Oh, you know what it is?
Demo Ranch. Nothing
on the back.
I actually just liked the cut. I thought it was a good cut.
It's a nice shirt.
Yeah.
It's that interrogation light shining right on you. That's what it is.
No.
Oh, well, I tried to make an excuse for you.
Yeah,
you
thanks. Yeah, I think it's the spotlight.
Yeah, it's probably this, but it's hot under these lights.
Well, I feel good about that. Do you want to do a wrap here? So today we carried forward our understanding of kind of embodied stages with talking about how altitudes change in response to day-to-day activities and conflicts and any sorts of dynamics that might emerge in the present moment in between you and I or any interpersonal situation. Thanks.
That's about it. We all regress. We all progress. It's all natural. Some of it's automatic. Some of it's intentional. But on that note, better be hitting that old trail. See you guys next week.
We adore you. Goodbye. Click.
Love you. Bye.
We did it. Yeah, that's a good one. That's really good too.
Fucking
I'm
nailed it.